Yo, man, there is so much news dropping today. I had a couple of stories that I wanted to have released today, but they had to get pushed off to tomorrow because there's other stuff coming as well, and I need to stay on top of this Target situation because it finds new and interesting ways to disappoint and continue to just grow and evolve. It's funny. It's funny, right? Because Target should theoretically have more reach than Anheuser-Busch, and they're definitely playing catch up because, yes, they've lost $15 billion in market share so far. And they've only been rolling for about, a little better than a quarter of the time that Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light has. But they're making inroads, especially with their extracurricular activities. Check this out. Target funds nonprofit calling for demilitarization, shutting down Mount Rushmore as a symbol of white supremacy. That's interesting for all the people that think it's ESG, CEI scores, and Black Rocks and State Streets and Vanguards. Well, I think that shit is all overhyped, just like the same people that go, my globalists are everywhere. That's apparently all in service of getting the money from these trillion-dollar hedge funds. So no, I don't quite dive as deep into that conspiracy theory, even though that, the protocols are on the books and all that shit. But I think there's more obvious reasons why everybody capitulates to this. Take a look at who's staffing the marketing and the human resources department, and if it smells like copper pennies once a week or every month for once a week, then yeah, you kind of got to the bottom of the big mystery there. But what is newsworthy is what a company does with their own money, like funding pride events. Shout out Bud Light. And now with Target funding this obviously anti-American quote-unquote charity. Yeah, exactly. So now, for me, this at least bolsters the boycott. Doesn't look good for Target. Embattled retail giant Target has funded a nonprofit that calls for shutting down Mount Rushmore because the landmark is a symbol of white supremacy, demilitarizing the violent U.S. military and imposing sanctions on Israel, according to a report. All right. Well, anyways, the company, which has lost $12 billion, seen another one that, it's at about $15 billion, but, tomato, right? All over, yes, the pride-themed clothing, but now it seems to be a little bit more substantial than just the simple tuck-friendly swimsuit, which is apparently the fire starter when it comes to it, but anyways, has donated money to NDN Collective, according to 2021 tax documents obtained by Fox News. It's unclear how much money the cheap chic retailer has shelled out to the organization, which bills itself as an indigenous-led organization. Oh, okay, well, that's good. We know that they aren't going to get anything accomplished. Too busy huffing aerosol cans and taking shots of scope. I'm a quarter native, so I can make those jokes to all of you identity politics fun people. I was about to drop one of those spicy words. Anyways, that's the Cree in me coming out. Anyways, dedicated to building the collective power of indigenous people. Yeah, but I don't want it. However, a statement on NDN's collective website said the group was awarded $50 million in 2021 to support indigenous communities. It's interesting. Remember how this was a little while ago, and you might, I know I definitely reported on it, and I definitely did a video on it, but they were trying to drag Anheuser-Busch for donating to Republicans. I think that came out right after Don Trump Jr. had a brain-dead take when it came to all that stuff. Actually, they fund Republicans. And then we took a look at the numbers, and it accounted to basically pocket change to just try to think that, we support people on both sides of the aisle. And I was like, that's fucking cap. Yeah, it worked out to, I think, $3,700 per candidate over a 10-year span. That's basically what it worked out to. It was like $50,000 over 10 years. It was absolutely fucking atrocious money. That was like a fraction of a tax write-off, and that's what they were trying to drag him for being, a Republican-leaning distillery. And I was like, no, not at all. Like, you tip more to people working at the restaurant, for Christ's sakes. The group has called the very existence of Mount Rushmore a symbol of white supremacy. Well, if you don't like it, you can get the fuck out. Hey man, that's interesting. Okay, a symbol of white supremacy. I would say to the victor go the spoils. Should have put up a better fight, losers. If you weren't cold, you wouldn't have lost. Oh well. Since the National Memorial is in Black Hills of South Dakota. Oh no, with the faces of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. We know, is set on stolen Lakota land. Now, you probably traded it for, I don't know, a mirror and a button. Just stop it. NDN Collective is, for the closure of the National Monument indefinitely, said the press release, which was posted in July of 2020. Before then, President Donald Trump visited, Mount Rushmore in celebration of Independence Day. Oh, that's interesting. I remember talking about that. Might actually did a video on that if you go way back in the archives. They were trying to shut down, the fireworks display on Independence Day. I think so. That might be the same group. That's interesting. The organization also condemns militarization as a pathway to exploitation and destruction of indigenous communities within the so-called United States. Since the Civil War, when was the last time that the United States military, outside of enforcing some COVID laws, was actually used to oppress specific indigenous communities? I'm just wondering if your sources are accurate on that one. NDN Collective has also launched a campaign called Land Back. How effective are you doing that? You got $50 million. You're telling me that you can't buy some fucking farmland somewhere? Fucking Bill Gates, the Chinese government, they've been awfully successful, but what have you guys done? I don't know. The white man takes all of our stuff. Just shut up. Land Back, got to scream it, I guess, has also pushed anti-Israel. Okay, let him cook. Campaigns using the terror slogan, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." There's better slogans, but mostly they're in Arabic. I can't properly pronounce them. We must demand that our government stop providing military aid and funding to so-called Israel. That's interesting, because are you going to take a stance as to who the indigenous people are down there? And if that's your entire mantra, if that's your raison d'etre, why don't you go down? Why don't you slap a flag down in the ground there? Go party in Gaza? Yeah, I didn't think so. We must continue to speak our support aloud in public and support the civil society call for boycott, divestment, and sanctions. That's fantastic. The chant has long been used by anti-Israel terrorist organizations such as Hamas. It's not like they have, a bullet point that's right in there that just calls for the eradication of all the Jews. Oh, wait, that's just like point number 6. Interesting. And the PFLP, People for the Liberation of Palestine, I think that's one of those, which seeks Israel's destruction through violent means. Well, how else are you going to do it? According to the ADL. Oh, if you're citing the ADL in order for backup, I think you're a little fucked, but okay. Representatives for NDN Collective and Target didn't immediately respond to the Post's request for comment. Well, of course not. They're too busy counting all of their money that they got from the guilty white men. Target accelerated its diversity, equity, and inclusion funding in response to Black Lives Matter activism under the leadership of Chief Diversity Officer Yera Fernandez. According to Fox News. We've talked about her before, but just as a bit of a refresher course, shall we? Fernandez has demanded that white women get to work. Oh yeah, of course, the moment that you mobilize, she's actually onto something there. The moment that you mobilize the white women, that's the only time that progress ever happens. Take a look at all the protests that end up going through. Take a look at who are the ones that are right there at the front because they have such a high level of entitlement, and don't think, any other colors and shades of women are off the hook there. Whenever the bitches start to mobilize, that's when the simps, and that's when the other bitches just start to make shit happen. So she's not wrong by trying to appeal to that group. I would say, widen your net, you fucking racist. And proclaim that systemic racism in America. Oh, of course, she proclaimed it, right? Good for her. A woman who is in a very privileged position in one of the biggest retailing giants in all of the country is talking about how the system is keeping people down. All right, then. Seems to check out logically. In an interview with Essence Magazine, Fernandez drew attention by saying that one of the hottest things, sorry, my mistake. One of the hottest things in the world is every day is being black. Fantastic stuff. Your last name Fernandez, right? You're traditionally an African name, right? Unfucking believable. She later demanded that white women call out transgressions. Yeah, they support all that shit. In 2021, panel from Twin Cities Business Talk, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I like to switch the last two around because I like the acronym a little bit better. I think the number one thing that I would encourage white women to do is take the DEI learnings and use your voice so the woman of color in the room doesn't always have to. That's funny because if you talk to average black and Hispanic ladies, they're fairly Christian conservative when it comes to social practices, even though that they're told that they should just vote Democrat. But those that have their third eye open realize and take a look around and survey the landscape and realize, what, they're pushing that shit? I don't fucking think so. Keep that shit out my kids' mind, motherfucker. So yeah, you got the one woke Maria. Is that the Hispanic version of Karen? Close enough. Trying to appeal to the other Karens that are out there in the audience, mostly because her own people don't have her back in this situation. Oh well. Fernandez then called out white women on the panel and said, Allison, there are places that you and I will go where your voice will be heard differently than mine. Well, she's definitely not talking about the movie theater with that one. The revelation that Target funds the NDN Collective comes as Target stock sinks to its lowest levels since the 2020 riots, when they couldn't keep product in stores. I know you'd think that that's normally a good thing for retailers, but what happened in 2020? Oh, right. Oh, and where was the epicenter of that? Oh, the same place where Target is headquartered. Oh, shit. Oh, makes a lot of sense, right? Shares of the Minneapolis-based chain, there it is, sank 2.45% at 100. Oh, they broke the mythical 130. That's fantastic. 129.96 on Monday, giving the company a market capitalization of cool $60 billion. A steep drop from the $72.14 billion value that Target enjoyed just 1 month ago. And yeah, we even see a little bit of an update. Now it's hitting somewhere on and around $15 billion, thanks to another drop earlier today. But we will more than likely talk about that tomorrow, because now we got some Bud Light shit to talk about. Like I said, there is so much news going on here today, and Bud Light finds a new and interesting ways to continue to keep their names in your fucking mouth. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Coswell. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.